morning, students. Let us go ahead with our next topic related to infrastructure security, and today we will be focusing on application level security. This is the outline for today's session. We will be studying about application level security. We will be studying about the security threats. We will be studying about the end user security, followed by certain assignments for this specific topic. So, as we will be discussing about different case studies related to this, specifically Twitter is one of the major focus of attack among the various hackers. There is one of the hackers named Kerr who basically hacked Twitter handle of various corporates, various politicians and cultural people, and specifically high profile, even like he has not spared former President Barack Obama, Elon Musk and various other high profile candidates. He has hacked their Twitter account. He basically has access to sensitive tools, basically very useful for hacking Twitter handle. We will be seeing other attacks also in this session. So, infrastructure basically at application level, where the focus is designing and implementing applications. They basically target for deployment on cloud platform will require that the existing application security programs be re-evaluated and re-evaluate the current practices and the standards. So, the application spectrum basically ranges from standalone single user applications to sophisticated multi-user e-commerce applications. These are basically used by millions of users. So, one has to focus on re-evaluating the current practices and the standards, and there are a range of applications which basically range from standalone single user applications to multi-user e-commerce applications, and these are basically used by millions of users. The basically web applications include content such as CMS, that is termed as content management systems, wikis, portals, bulletin boards and discussion forums, and these are basically used by small and large organizations. We have advances in attack, like you have cross-scripting attack which is termed as XSS and other attacks. These have basically demonstrated that criminals are basically looking for financial gain which exploits vulnerabilities resulting in web programming errors. So, there are a lot of web programming errors and these become the vulnerabilities for the attackers, and these are the new ways to basically penetrate into the important organizations levels. So, application security programs need to include browser security also in the scope of application security. So, browser security is also important when you discuss about application security programs. So, there are certain existing threats basically which exploit well-known application vulnerabilities, and there are around 10 which are listed, top 10, and they are under the category of Open Web Application Security Project, that is termed as OWASP, and these basically include cross-site scripting which we discussed as XSS, then you have SQL injection, malicious file execution and other vulnerabilities resulting from programming errors and design flaws. So, these are some of the top threats, existing threats, and the attacks have basically happened through this. Hackers are constantly scanning web applications that are accessible from the internet for application vulnerabilities. They basically focus, they constantly scan and find out the vulnerabilities and try to attack through them. So, they are then exploiting these vulnerabilities, as I said, and they discover for various illegal activities. And these illegal activities could include financial fraud, intellectual property theft, converting trusted websites into malicious server serving client-side exploits. So, they find the trusted websites and they try to convert it to malicious servers, so they can use that server to attack the other sites, and also phishing scams. So, these are some of the illegal activities that are performed by the attackers. So, all the web frames and all types of web applications are basically at a risk of web application security defects, and these basically range from an insufficient validation to application logic errors. So there is a range basically from insufficient validation to application logic errors. So there are basically a combination of perimeter security controls and networks, and these are host-based access controls. These are basically used to protect the web applications that are deployed in a tightly controlled environment, and that also includes the corporate internet and private clouds from external hackers. So a combination of security controls needs to be used. So web applications built and deployed in a public cloud platform will be subjected to a high threat level, attacked and potentially exploited by hackers to support fraudulent and illegal activities. So normally the attackers basically focus on exploiting the potential threats, and they perform certain fraudulent and illegal activities. This is one of the SDLCs which is basically used to secure, and SDLC basically stands for Software Development Lifecycle. It basically focuses on securing the design, securing the coding, securing the testing, and securing the other cycles included in security features, that is release as well. So now we'll study about DOS. DOS is basically a type of attack that is termed as denial of service. Mind you, it is not Daniel, it is denial. Denial means the service is not provided. So attackers basically typically originate from compromised computer systems that are attached to the internet, and routinely basically hackers hijack and control computers which are infected by way of a virus, worm or malware, and in some cases powerful unprotected servers. Most of the issues are basically because the defaults are used on the server, which is a major mistake done by the administrators. So application level DOS attacks could basically manifest themselves as high volume web page reloads, XML web services request over HTTP or even HTTPS or protocol specific request. These are all basically supported by a cloud service. So these malicious requests basically blend with legitimate traffic. So when it is mixed with legitimate traffic, it becomes very difficult to selectively filter such malicious traffic without impacting the service as a whole. So if you try to filter this, the service is also affected. So one has to think accordingly what steps needs to be taken. So this is one of the DDoS attack on Twitter, which happened way back in 2009. This is an old case, and in the start of the session I discussed about a new case. So the new case was basically recently discussed on net, that was on July 31st, 2020. So this is very old, and they are trying to get the service up. The messages are listed here, and at various times what they are trying to do is also listed. So this is just a figure to show you that the Twitter is also not spared. Even the Facebook was attacked, and the Facebook owner's account also was hacked by the hackers. So these hackers are not basically belonging to a single country. They also belong to Russia and various other countries, South Korea and other countries as well. So we'll discuss about EDOS, that is another form of attack that is termed as economical denial of sustainability. So this basically focuses on the accounts which are in the cloud. So DOS attacks on pay-as-you-go cloud applications. These will result in a dramatic increase in the cloud utility bill. One will see an increased use of network bandwidth, CPU and storage consumption. So if your account is attacked, you will see an increased bill, and these attackers will make it show that it is very illegal and you have to pay for their usage. So this type of attack is also being characterized as EDOS, that is economic denial of sustainability. So we have something called as dark clouds, where DOS attacks are launched from infrastructure as a service or platform as a service clouds against other cloud services, and such hostile and offensive cloud models are characterized as dark clouds. So let us focus on end user security. So customers basically who use a cloud service are responsible for end user security tasks and security procedures to protect the internet connected PC, and also for practicing something called as safe surfing. So safe surfing is basically the end user's responsibility. There are protection measures that include use of security software such as anti-malware, antivirus, personal firewalls, security patches and IPS type software on internet connected computers. So all these things are basically protection measures that are used for security. So there are internet browsers also which basically routinely suffer from software vulnerabilities that make them vulnerable to end user security attack. So possibly recommendations is that cloud customer take appropriate steps to protect browsers from such attacks. So they have to think of the browser hygiene also. So basically to achieve end-to-end security in a cloud, it is essential for customers to maintain good browser hygiene as I suggested. So keep the browser patched and updated. So keeping the browser hygiene would mean you have to keep the patches updated, and also you need to mitigate the threats that are basically related to browser vulnerabilities. So now basically who is responsible for application security in cloud? So it depends whether the cloud service provider is responsible or the cloud customer is responsible. Basically both are responsible. So depending on the cloud service delivery model that is termed as SPI and the SLA, that is your service level agreements, the scope of security responsibility will basically fall on the shoulders of both, that is the customer and the cloud provider. So due to lack of transparencies, customers are left basically with no choice but to trust their CSPs to disclose any new vulnerability that may affect the confidentiality, integrity and availability of their application. So this is one of the other case studies of AWS that happened, and this of course was again 13 years back in 2007, and the case of AWS was it basically had issues in cryptographic algorithms they used, and there was some weakness, and AWS literally took 7.5 months to overcome this, and that was reported by Colin Perky-Sewell, reported in May 2007. So Colin was the person who reported about this, and the vulnerability basically was found in cryptographic weakness in Amazon's request signing code, and that affected all the applications like database API, that is SimpleDB, and then EC2 API services, and basically it was not made public till it was handled or fixed, and they declared it in December 2008. So Colin basically acknowledged that Amazon took or put in a lot of efforts and took this issue very seriously, and the lengthy timeline basically because it took a lot of time to sort out this or fix this weakness, and it was basically because of large amount of work that was involved in rolling out the patch of the affected services. So the security controls basically at application level, you have the preventive controls and the detective controls. And the preventive controls, you basically have identity management, access control, assessment, browser hardened with latest patches, multi-factor authentication via delegated authentication, endpoint security measures including antivirus and IPS. And under detective controls, you have the login history and available reports for SaaS vendors. So these are certain assignments for today. You can just have a look at it. One of the questions I have repeated because it has been asked in the previous question paper. You can just have a look at it, and if you have any queries related to this topic, you can contact me at the specified email ID. Thank you for today.